Happy Halloween, ghouls and ghosts! This is Reluge, and as promised, here is the second Monster High movie. I will get all four out, although I'm trying to decide what the fourth one is going to be. I'm probably going to be releasing some of the Monster Bash stuff after October again, but like I said, I'm going to get out all four Monster High movie reviews. I'm going to finish Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Was that the two major projects I was doing? Because I'm going to continue doing, like, my paranormal evidence look-throughs. Oh, there is another project I'm doing that I'm going to release for the Monster Bash. So, things are hectic. Just keep with me. Subscribe to catch it when they do come up. I am going to get them released. Okay? So today we are reviewing Freaky Fusion. Now, last time I mentioned that the dolls were more to sell the movies than vice versa. That was until this particular movie. And yes, 13 Witches, 13 Wishes, and Fright's Camera Action did introduce, like, 4 new dolls, but it wasn't in your face like this movie was. This started what I call the 4-to-4 ratio. They had 4 new monsters based on a theme of the movie, and then they had 4 old monsters, usually popular monsters, that have been changed for the theme of the movie. Freaky Fusion had hybrid monsters as their new ones, and then they took 2 old characters and fused them together to create a new one. So that was like a total of 8 characters fused together to make 4. Next was Haunted, with the 4 new ghost characters, and then 4 of the 4 old characters that got turned into ghosts. And then Scary Reef had 4 new mermaid characters, and they turned 4 old characters into mermaids. The main thing that bugs me about that, the new characters was near impossible to re-release. Like with the Fusion ones, they were always in, like, the bigger boxes. Like, you had the Centaur, the Moth Skeleton, the Mermaid, whatever. The only one that really didn't need the big box was Nathan. But, as I predicted, they never re-released any of the new monsters, or even the remake of the previous monsters. So, if you wanted those particular characters, you had to get them at that moment, because they would never be reissued. Which bugs me. So, the movie, yes, we're getting into the movie now, starts off with a trope that I hate. The whole put a scene from the end of the movie, put it in front of the beginning of the movie, confuse the watchers, be like, oh, hey, let me tell you the story of how we got here.
Okay. I know what you're thinking. Who's that voltageously cute zombie unicorn guy?
I hate that. I really do, because it's like, by the time you get to the end of the movie, you forget what's going on. And even though Megamind was one of my favorite movies, they did that, and that was still annoying. Especially when with that, it's like characters you didn't know, so you didn't really care that he was falling. Anyway, if you had watched Frights Camera Action, part of that they were talking about this Scarage project. They didn't even go into that at all. However, in this movie, that's the main plot. Frankie had very little that she could work with because her father, which is Frankenstein's monster, didn't talk about his father, which is being Dr. Frankenstein, much at all.
My grandfather was Victor Frankenstein, and he built my dad, and that's all I know. Thank you.
So, she goes on a mission to try to find anything to do with her father. Rebecca Stein mentioned that her father has a secret lab hidden somewhere in the building. So she takes them along with Toralei Jennifer to go and try to find her father's workshop. Antics arise, but they start to learn about that Rebecca's father had a run-in with Frankie's father, or grandfather. And they accidentally, because of Toralei, discover that there is an actual time portal that works. Yeah, well, very conveniently. Yeah. They use it to travel back in time, accidentally. Or, you could accidentally create a paradox loophole. I'm right, aren't I? In Frights Camera's Action, while they're talking about the vampire heart, the only part of Rebecca's father that you see is his hand.
An eternal friend, and given to their care.
And spoilers, it turned out the heart was in Rebecca Stein this whole time. So, you find out that Hezekiah Stein is actually more human than monster. He's got a robotic hand and he's more cyborg than anything else. But then, we're also introduced to Sparky, which, I'm just going to spoil it, is Frankie's grandfather.
Class, Professor Steam, I do not have a Scaratage. For you see, I am an orphan. So, because I don't have a family, I made one.
So, I'm going to refer to him from here on as Victor, because that's his name. They nicknamed him Sparky because something science. But, of course, Frankie does not know that this is her grandfather. He's talking about creating life, so Frankie figures she'll talk to him about her grandfather.
How can you do that?
Well, because I was created. And my father was too.
I kind of find it interesting that the school has two humans in it, a teacher and a student, that they both go on to create life.
Since when has a little curiosity caused any trouble? Oh, right! The whole accidentally sending us back in time thing. Yeah! That was my bad.
Yeah, it's a good thing I can hear them through this telescope. On their way back to the present, 8 of the ghouls accidentally get fused together create the fusion that I mentioned earlier. Their designs aren't really that good. The only one that I kind of like is Claudine and Venus. But I think that's still because I really like Claudine's fur jacket. So we get a bit of the movie where the girls or ghouls try to live with being fused together, trying to figure out how to fix it, learning how to get along with each other, and learning how to use their powers for no real output. This seems like it's like, okay, we got this idea of fusing the girls together. What do we do with it? Make them learn how to get together, but never really focus on that later on. Suddenly, I have sugar. Pour some sugar on me. So, of course, I did skim over the 4 new fused monsters. But, just like with the ghouls being fused, this has very little to do with the storyline of this movie. With Nathan's design, I kind of wish they pushed the zombie aspect a little bit more, other than having like a 3D, not 3D, but a see-through organ display on his clothes, and a little bit of like scarring going on his face. If you notice with Operetta, she has like a little mask that's like design, that's like fashion, and she has like little intricate details on her face to represent the scar from her father. That was awesome. I loved that. But Nathan, you could barely tell that was supposed to be zombie rot on his face. So after Ghoulia fixes the machine, Victor arrives in the present and figured he'd use the future technology to create the life that he's so desperately seeking. He makes this weird creature creation. Yeah, it does seem like I'm rushing the plot a little bit. That's because the other bits aren't exactly important for the story, which is one of the reasons why I don't really like this movie that much. They focus a lot on the fused monsters and the new hybrids, and neither of them really adds to the plot at all. The huge plot is about Frankie learning about her heritage, and Victor coming to the present and accidentally wreaking havoc on the school with his creation. But even though, like, at the beginning they used a trope I hate, they did a trope here that I thoroughly enjoy. I love it when they have characters from the past come into the present or the future, and they find a camera and they accidentally take a picture of themselves.
Blinded by science. Fascinating.
They did that in Darkness Falls, Lights Out, the second game. I did a playthrough on that. And I've seen like a lot of other games where it's like someone from the past comes, takes a picture of themselves, and gets surprised that, oh hey, this is magic. That just tickles me in the right place. So one of the things that bugs me about the fused monsters, they gave Dracula and Rebecca a polite trait.
After you! No, please, you first. I insist! Are we really doing this again?
Like, they're overly polite. They've never done this back, like, before, ever. And it's like they just added this trait to them to give them, issue that really does nothing for the movie at all. Nothing that they do with, like, being polite and then learning how to not be so polite. That had nothing to do with the movie. So I feel like they wasted a lot of time on the movie with the girls being fused, learning how to deal with each other and their powers, and getting this pseudo character development when we know by the end of the movie they're going to get unfused, and what they do through the movie does nothing. But one thing good that did come out of this movie that I really thoroughly enjoyed was the blossoming romance between Frankie and Nathan.
If I was built in some laboratory, am I even really alive at all? What if I'm just parts?
That's some heavy stuff. You sure you don't want to go back to small talk about the lava?
And I think they had a good pace of them falling in love in this movie, too. It was like an instant connection at the beginning. It was through Frankie trying to help her friends out, trying to get to know each other. But we can't dwell on that. Victor's robot is causing mayhem throughout the entire school. We gotta figure out how to stop it. Which brings to the beginning of the movie. So we know that we saw the hybrids, but what we didn't see was that for some reason the robot started sucking up the fused characters into the little time portal piece that Victor used for the robot. So, okay. Now, I do know I'm talking crap about this movie, but I do really like Victor's robot. Though, I feel like the movie should have focused more on that. So, the whole chase scene that we already saw at the beginning of the movie, it lost its, pow, its effectiveness, because we've already seen it. We've been there, done that. Let's move on. So, we get to see Frankie taking on the monster, and that was actually pretty well done. So, she swapped around her bolts and used her spark to return her friends to normal and defeat the monster. But, in turn, we get a near-death scene.
This is all my fault. I should have listened to Professor Steam and not forced the creation of life before I understood it. Before you showed me there was really something in here. And now you've gone and used up all your spark to save your friends.
Pikachu. Pika. Pika-pee. Pika-pee.
I don't feel so good.
You're alright.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I swear.
Are you okay?
I'm flirting? Wait, no, that's not it. I'm flirting away. The magic in me is fading.
What?
I don't think Elsa's okay. I think she may have gone too far.
No. No.
Anna, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to do this next part on your own. Okay?
Wait. Come here. I've got you.
Oh, that's good. Hey, Anna. I just thought of one thing that's permanent.
What's that?
Love.
Warm hugs?
I like warm hugs.
love you.
Well, like I said before, it was kind of obvious that Sparky was Victor, but this is where, like, through the revival of Frankie, Victor learns what it means to bring something to life, what he needs. And Frankie learns about her grandfather, and the reason why Frankenstein wasn't telling her anything about her grandfather was because they knew about this paradox loophole, which I called at the beginning of the movie. Hexadiah shows up because he figured out that his machine was messed with and Victor was suddenly missing. And he takes us all in stride. Hexadiah is one of my favorite characters. Really want to have his doll, but that's like massively expensive. And to revive Frankie, they find out that everybody that Frankie has touched has a little bit of her spark inside. And so they use Frankie's spirit bomb.
Come on, everybody, together. Think of your best Frankie memory.
I remember when Frankie helped bring me back to life. She planned a surprise party for my sweet 1600.
Save Frankie?
She freed me from the lantern.
We've got to save Frankie.
Save Frankie! Save Frankie!
To bring her back to life. And with their powers combined, they had created a new outfit for Frankie to wear that you could buy online just for $59.99. And so we get connected to where we started. Except now Frankie's wearing her new outfit instead of her original one?
Let's tell the story from the beginning.
Oh,
And as for me, well, let's just say that after a crazy family adventure like that, I had plenty to talk about for my Scaritage project.
Yeah. What? That was a oversight. Seriously, it's like she starts talking about her story. She's wearing her traditional outfit. And then at the end of the movie, she's continuing telling the story, but she's suddenly wearing her new outfit. And it makes you think it's like, oh shit, this is like her new look. But in the next movie, she's wearing her traditional outfit anyway. Yeah, okay. So, the reason why I used 13 Wishes in this one as like the first two, because these two really focus on the in-depth lore that is Monster High. But no, forget all that, because the next movie that I'm reviewing is the relaunch. Yeah, that one. So if you'd like to see me tear apart that movie, please subscribe. Let me know what you think about not only this video, but the movie that I just reviewed, because I know that people are going to have different viewpoints than I do. So go ahead and explain those. And I'm still kind of at a mix of what the fourth movie I'm going to review is, because I'm doing Welcome to Monster High for the next review, but for the fourth one, I could either do Electrified or the first live-action movie. At this moment, I'm leaning towards the live-action movie, because I got some things to say about that. So at this point, I haven't written this fourth script. Let me know what you think. your suggestion might actually influence what the fourth movie I review is going to be. So, like, subscribe, join my Discord, but most importantly, until next time, stay spooky.